Hey, residents of MeepleTown.
Man, you hesitated for a second. I almost did the
Let's try that again.
thing too late.
Hey, residents of MeepleTown. Today we are going to be taking on the roles of chancellors, exiles, citizens, lots of different people trying to gain a lot of fame.
I'm taking an oath. I didn't mean high five.
Trying to be the most famous, trying to gain a lot of popularity, and become the one who is the most popular at the end of the game in Oath, Chronicles of Empire and Exile. Let's get to the table and check it out. Here is the setup for this bear.
Hey, we finally had a kind of a real high five. You didn't do a backhanded one.
That's
and
right.
It wasn't even the right time. That's not what I wanted.
Oh man.
I reject that high five.
Didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. I did.
Oh,
all right. So here is the setup for Oath. And here's what we're not going to do.
I thought this was a board game.
We are not going to be giving all of the
bear.
Details of this game for sure. We're going to be playing. In fact, you don't need to play this game two players the way we have it set up. We have it set up with a Chancellor and one Exile. You really do need to have the Clockwork Prince, I think is what it's called. Mm-hmm. If you're going to have two players.
Or 3 players,
or 3, 5 players, whatever. You need to have more players than what we have. But why we have it set up this way is because we just want to show you how this plays and kind of play through a little bit of a round and then explain
just
some
give you an
things
idea
as we
how
go.
it plays. Yeah, because there's a lot to the game and a lot of,
Yep.
You just want to dive in and kind of go?
That's right.
Just show them the win conditions.
So you know, the win condition in this one is that you are trying to be the one who rules the most sites. And you're going to rule a site when you have your war bands out there. You can only have one player that has war bands. So if John wants to come over and take my war band and control this site, he's going to have to battle me for it. He's going to have to take a campaign action, which we'll explain a little bit later, and knock this out so that he can put his own war bands out there, and then whoever is controlling the most of those is going to be in a position to win the game. How that works is we're going to be playing through rounds. At the end of this round right here, if I still have the Oath... I left the Oathkeeper token in the box. I'll get that in a minute.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'll go grab it in a second. If I still have the Oathkeeper token on my board as the Chancellor, I'm going to roll this die, and if it's a 6, I will win the game immediately. If you go to the next round, it's going to be 5-3, and then at the end of the 8th round, it doesn't matter what I roll. If I still have that, I'm going to be declared the winner. Now, John has opportunities as an Exile to gain the Oathkeeper card, and then it flips over to the Usurper side. We'll show that in a second when I go grab it. And then after, he also has an opportunity to get these Vision cards throughout the game, and when he does that, if he completes the objectives on those, he can win the game after a certain amount have been revealed.
Which is why you need more than 2 players, like because of all the
Keep
cool.
talking.
I was just gonna say because of all the cool usurping, and you can go from an exile, and as Dean mentioned, I'll just flip it over and show y'all. You can go from exile to a citizen, and then if you're a citizen, then you have a new win condition, and you can stab the Chancellor in the back and usurp him, and a lot of intrigue is the right word, I think.
Yes, that's exactly right. So if John has this, it will, when it comes back around to his turn, he can flip it over. If he comes back around to his turn again, he
Game
wins.
over.
He wins the game. All right, now on your turn, you're going to be doing, if you've played Root, this part will be familiar. You'll have a wake phase, kind of your action phase, and then a rest phase. And once once all the players have taken all those
Did you
actions,
say both of us?
both of us have taken all of the actions, then that will move the round marker up one. Now, we also so the setup, I kind of did a little bit of a combination between the initial how to play setup along with the first game setup. It really, it is what it is. It's just the way that I set it up. I've got these sites up here. We've got cards from the world deck that we're going to be drawing. These are our denizen cards. They're going to be either our advisors or going out to the locations. We might be able to get relics along the way. I'm not really going to go into this piece of the Grand Scepter as oh my goodness, I'm having a hard time. So I start off with the relic, the Grand Scepter. I, as the Chancellor, am allowed to make people into citizens or offer citizenship to people. And that will change their win conditions.
And I showed them the other side of the board. And
stuff. That's right. So that will change some of the things as we go along. We're not going to go into that because you wouldn't really do that in a 2-player game setup like this anyway.
And you shouldn't. You're not supposed to play the game like that.
That's right.
We're teaching you guys how to play a game the wrong way.
That's right.
We're not teaching the wrong rules.
So I have I've got my pawn up here, and this is where I'm going to be moving around and taking different actions, visiting different locations and things like that. I think right off the bat, I do my wake phase, so I check to check the people's favor if I have it. That's this right here. I don't have it, and I'm not going to pick it up this first round either. What I'm going to do is try to probably play some cards and search for cards and things like that. So we each started off with one card face down into our advisor. Stack, we can have 3 advisors over here. These cards can also be played into locations if we want to do that. And when we do, if we do that, then we'll gain favor from that location.
Oops, I had my thumb over it.
All right, and I think what I'm going to do, I kind of like having this as an action that I can have, but I'm going to, as a minor action, you can play cards into the location. When I do that, I'm going to play this card right here, and it has this symbol up at the top, this little house symbol, which is hearth symbol. When you play a card to your location, you're going to gain favor for doing that. If I played it as an advisor, I don't gain any benefit from that. It also, for this one, has an action associated with it that I can peek at the top 3 cards of the region, of your region's discard pile. Now, if I take this, I'm going to have to take it here. If I would have played this into the advisor area, it would take up one of my spots, but it doesn't matter where I am, where my pawn is, I can peek at those cards. Probably would have been better to put me that.
Better.
Oh, goodness, I'm having a hard time. Probably would have been better for me to keep that as an advisor, but you know what? It is what it is. All right, so then for these actions, I can search, which is gaining cards. I can muster, which is putting warbands out. I can, or gaining warbands. I can trade to gain favor through your secrets, or secrets through your favor. I can recover, which is to gain a relic or to gain one of those cards up the top that we mentioned, the People's Favor or the Banner of the Darkest Secrets. I can campaign, which is going to be the battle part, and I can travel, and I don't really want to do that quite yet. I think I'm going to take the search action. Right now, the search action to search from the world deck is only going to cost me 2 supply, so I'll take 1, 2. I will draw 3 cards. You're going to do this one at a time, because if there's a vision card that pops up, and you'll see it from the backside, I'm going to take these, and I'm going to keep one of these. Like that. With a little giggle. If you ever see a card that has this symbol on it, that means it has to go to the site that you're at. There's another symbol on there that says it has to go as your advisor. So I'm going to take one of these, and let's see. I'm going to... I kind of like this one. I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to keep this one as a face-down advisor for right now. And then I discard the rest of these cards, and they'll go to the next area. So if I'm here, they'll go here. If I'm here, your discards will go here, and then hinterlands will go back over the cradle. That was my first action. I'm spending supply, so once I dwindle my supply, then I might not be able to take any more actions. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pay 1 supply to muster, and that means I'm going to, on an empty card, I'm going to take one of my, what are these called? Favors. I'm going to take one of these favors, and I'm going to put it here on any of those cards, and then I will take 2 of my war bands, and I'm going to put these out on my board. Now, I can put those out onto the main board for a minor action for free, but I don't want to quite do that yet. Next thing I want to do is I'm going to pay 2... Ooh, what is that one again? Peek at the top 3 cards of the region's discard pile as an action. I'm going to pay... I'm not worried about that right now. I'm going to pay 2 of those to gain a secret to kind of help me a little bit in the future. And that's all I'll be able to do in that location. Let's see, I was here. I took 2. I mustered. I traded to do that.
You got a hot dog? With all that because you mustered?
I'm going to travel now for 1 action. This tells you what areas you can travel to. If I'm traveling to the same location, it only costs 1 supply. So I'm going to move down here. And then I'm going to... I can search 1 more time, and I do think that I'm going to do that. So I'm going to pay 2 to search. Probably shouldn't do that. I probably should just go ahead and battle the bandits, shouldn't I? Bah. I'll do that.
You love searching.
I do love searching. All right, and I'm going to take one of these, and I'm probably going to play it out there so that I'll have an action to be able to take my next turn. Let's see. When no, why don't I want to do that? Okay, I'll do this. I'm going to play this right here, and this matches the arcane area.
Look at that.
These are going to
Snare.
discard here, and immediately when I do that, I'm going to gain a favor from that. Would love to be able to muster with this or trade with this, but I just don't have enough supply to do that. So that is going to be the end of my turn.
Yep.
And I'm going to move at the end during the rest. I'm going to take all of these tokens, and they're going to go back out onto
So this is like a closed economy here.
That's right. That's exactly
So
right.
you're going to be raising, yeah.
So these are going to go back out onto the places where they match the symbol on there. If I had any of my secrets out on the board, they actually will come back to my board because I get to keep my secrets. And then the last thing I do is I count up
Unless
how many...
you burn them, getting relics.
I count up how many warbands I have over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
That's why I just laid mine out. That's probably the smarter move.
That's fine. 16, I'm going to move this back up to here because this says if it's somewhere between 11 and 17 warbands, I move it back up to that supply.
How about them apples?
And that's my turn.
All right, Deanie. So on my turn, I don't know if he's mentioned yet, but these locations have these little things here, which like for the plains, you might be able. It's easier to attack the plains. You gain an extra attack die. In the mountain here, you gain a. It actually is harder to attack someone in the mountains. Share with them what this means, Dean.
Yeah, so that one is if you...
to.
I was actually making sure I got that one right. When traveling from here to a coast site, the travel cost is 1 supply, which is super cheap because it's normally 4.
So him traveling here or going down there, I could just go whoop and whip right on over here now. If I want to do that, because he's right. That's 4 to get all the way over here. That's quite a bit of supply. But I guess before I do that... I'm going to go ahead and attack this bad boy right here.
Okay.
Because I want to be able to... actually, I'm going to do this first. Sorry. Let me go ahead and... I wouldn't mind gaining a secret, but I don't have 2 coins. I'm going to go ahead and spend the 1 coin that I have here. Man.
You're going to muster, aren't you?
Yeah, to go ahead and muster. That will gain me 2 more, just so that I can... I don't even know if I'll use it. We'll see.
Not to be confused with the mustard action.
That's right.
Which is something totally different.
Especially when I'm playing yellow. How about that?
That's right.
It's extra good when you play yellow. All right, so I'm gonna do that. So my muster costs me 1 supply. Then I'm going to do campaign, which is going to cost me 2. Someone better might as well campaign to have fun. I'm going to be fighting against 1 of these. It's actually really simple.
So I'll roll this die.
Well, hold on. I haven't decided how many I'm going to...
Sorry. All right, well, I'm not going to roll that then.
It doesn't... So, I'm going to get as many die as I have people if I want to. Here's the thing, though. Some of these have skulls on them, which means my warbands are going to die if I roll one of those. So the thing is, let me see that die for a second. I'll just show them. So I'll just know that the most he can have with 1 die is 2. There is a ×2 on this. 2 shields. There's a ×2. So if you had another one, you could get 4. Whatever. You get that. It's not that complicated. You all know how to multiply ×2. It could go 0. So what I'm thinking is the worst case scenario is he rolls 2. I'm going to go ahead and roll 4. I'm not going to roll all 5 because I don't want to hit this. I'm pretty sure I could probably win with 3. There's a good chance I could. But these are half hits right here. So there's half hits. So I could, roll... Potentially I could roll 2... Yeah, I'm just going to roll... Yep.
All right,
let's go. Yeah, I think I'm just going to do 4. And Dean's going to roll his 1, and he rolls first. So
this isn't for me. This is for the bandit that's rolling there.
Dang it. I could have just rolled...
Rolling nothing.
Less. Dang it.
Ooh, look at that.
Wow, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I could have destroyed a bunch of people with that roll. Right. But guess what happens? There goes one of my warbands because of the skull, like I mentioned. Now I can... Got that cleared out. Put some dudes out there on the map. How about that?
That's right. And John can put as many as he wants out there. The benefit of having more over here is because you get to roll more dice. One thing to think about, I don't know if I explained this, but you get 1 die for this location. Now let's say that this they had a much better roll. Let's say they rolled 2 dice because of something else, or that I rolled 2 dice. Then you're going to have these symbols on there, and let's say they rolled this, and it was 2 of these, and that's times 2. So that would be a total of 4 shields. And let's say that John rolled 4. Let's say he rolled 3. He can remove these warbands as an additional attack point. But they're removed over into his general supply, so he loses them.
You have to pay money to get them back.
That's right. That's right. So, but there are other ways to mitigate it other than just having the die rolls that happen. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't have a ton of actions here. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spend 1 to travel over here where Dean is to the lush coast. Just because I want to go to a lush coast.
All right.
I went from a rocky to a lush coast. Then I'm going to place my favor on here so that I can. My secrets. So that I can now take 1 favor from the bank. And it says any favor, so it doesn't have to be the matching symbol. How about that?
Mm-hmm. Although you might as well just. Well, it's fine.
Well, I'm going to say I probably will take this. Because it might make it harder for Dean to get in the future.
Now, what John could do, and it doesn't matter because that doesn't cost him an additional action, it just costs that. Mm-hmm. He could have spent 1 action or 1 supply to take the trade action to trade in 1 secret to gain 2 from the location of that card, 2 favors, but you have to spend a supply to do that. So it's, whatever you would prefer to have, I guess.
Yes. Okay, so. All right, so I still have several actions left here. I'm just kind of debating on what I need to do here. I'm going to travel up here now. I'm going to go because here's the thing: when I attack, a couple things. If I attack his Chancellor, I can attack the other warbands, other areas and stuff if I want to. So I can say I'm attacking him right now, but if it's his Chancellor where his pawn is, then he's going to get 2 additional dice to roll, which is really tough right now. I don't have enough warbands to do jack with that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to come up here, which cost me 1. Did I do that already? I don't know. If I mess it up, I mess it up. Then I am going to. I'm going to go ahead and spend this so that I can muster a couple more troops and kind of prepare myself for next round. Do I want to do that? Yeah, I thought about looking through the cards here, but I don't want to give Dean something really nice for him to start his next turn on.
Yeah.
So, and again, I'm trying to rule as many as I want. Now, what I could have just kind of come down here, and maybe I should have. Maybe I should have come down here and flip some of those cards over and just tried to solidify having a lead here. But I'm just going to, for your sake, I'm just going to go aggressive and just start trying to take him down, just for fun.
All right.
I can do more actions now. How many do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I'm 8, and then I'm already 3, so I might as well spend. Oh man, let's attack him. Game on. Let's just have some fun.
Taking your campaign action.
Yeah, I'm just going. I'm going at it right now.
Okay.
All right. I've got 4 warbands here. He's gonna have.
Now, one thing to keep in mind: the longbow is here, so you'll actually have 1 less attack die. Just to keep that in mind too. But you gain one from having that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because he's ruling this area right here.
That's right.
So it's a wash. So I'm cool with that. So he's going to roll 1 of these, but 2 because he's the Oath Keeper. This is going to be kind of hard because now he automatically gets 2-point value. And then he's going to roll that. And all I can do is roll these 4 right here. But I can chuck him if I need to.
That's right. Now, let me pause that for just a second, just so we can explain that fully. Now, John, since he's attacking me, he can attack multiple things, okay? He can attack any of the locations that I'm at, okay? He can also attack, even if I have a relic, he can attack the relic, although this one's pretty difficult to get because you have to have it as an additional 5 defense dice on there. He can also, if I have a banner, he can attack to take the banner. There's lots of different things that he can do. It's actually, we always say attack, it's actually campaigning. You're trying to get the different locations and scheming more so than necessarily just attacking, I guess. There's more to it than just that.
That's true. And this washes out this for the planes, but like it's kind of, I'm like, yay, I get another attack die for the planes, but guess what? That makes it easier for him just to come back and take it. And that happens in this game.
Yeah.
Like you might be, oh yeah, I did this great move, and then he just goes and just takes it right back from you.
Yeah, that's
You're like, okay, that was a waste. So it's super tactical, like when to make the right decisions. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll 4 because I've got 4 war bands here. Mm-hmm. But go ahead.
And now I'm rolling 2, but what John also has to keep in mind is I have those war bands there that are going to add an additional number on there. Wow.
That was a horrible roll for Dean.
Double zeros. So John's got to get a 3. Yep.
1, 2, 3 and a half.
There we go.
So I got it.
You say 3.5. This counts as nothing unless you have 2 of those. It counts as an additional one. So I'm going to kill off one of those.
So it says on your board that you burn half of your. That's your. Yeah. That's the wrong thing. I'm not even reading the right thing. You lose half.
So one of those goes
rounded
back
down.
That one goes over there. That's
rounded
right.
down. Uh-huh. And so I don't know. Like this is a little bit interesting for me because I'm at least putting 2 here. I'm tempted to put 3 because he could just come right back up here and come at me. I don't know if he's going to do that, though. I don't know if he's going to come at me, bro, but he's got 6 of those. I'm going to make it harder for him. I'm going to make it. Of course, then he could burn, but I would only lose 1 because it's half rounded down.
That's right.
So I'm going to do that. Okay, that's it.
And we just said we're playing 1 round, so it doesn't really matter what you do. Now, what John did, though, is gain the Oathkeeper because he now rules the most sites. And John has 2 sites that he rules. I only have 1. Remember, your pawn does not count towards ruling only the warbands.
The game is basically over, and I've basically won.
There we go. Yeah, that's it. Now, it could be if the end of his next turn, it turns over to the usurper, and then the next turn, it would be him winning the game. Not the end, but the beginning, during his wake phase, that would happen. Yeah. All right, now let me explain a few things as we go. So, like John said, this changes things. Well, what I might want to do is start taking over some of these sites that don't have anybody on there. I do have a lot of war bands that's going to help out with that a whole lot.
Yeah.
Now, we mentioned you don't really need to play this at 2-player in the way that we're playing, and you can see why. Because there's a lot of just like back and forth.
Yeah.
And the game in and of itself wouldn't be as good if it was just that. That's why you're going to add in this opportunity to add citizens that you're going to be making, deals with people. You're going to have a lot more player interaction than just going back and forth and attacking. So, but this, we just wanted to show you exactly how, or not exactly, but the general idea of how the game plays out.
I also want to make mention of a couple other things that are really important in this game. These favors, the people banners favors. So if I want to, on my turn, what I can do is I put more coins. Oh man, that was bad. I can put more coins on this than there already are. Okay, if I do that. Then I'm going to take the old coins that were on there. I'm going to place that into any of the favor banks that I want. But why do I want this? I want this because if I have this, then I'm going to also get an extra defense per favor that's on here. Mm-hmm. Now, every round I do have to add a favor at the beginning in my wake phase, or I remove one to what is the lowest tier. So it gets progressively easier for Dean to take this back. But this can be huge for him or myself. I mean, for him, a lot of what he's doing is just trying to hold serve or whatever, trying to make sure that he has he spreads out and just fins me off until he can start rolling this die in order to win. And that works similarly with secrets. So you can gain secrets by doing that, but you place more secrets on there and stuff like that. So
That's right. Now, this game is also a campaign game, and so something to think about is as the game changes, there's other cards that are in the box that you're going to open up, and it's not legacy in that sense. It is more of a campaign style where things are going to be changing from game to game, and so that could add to your what we can kind of talk about that in the. And when we're actually talking about gameplay and all that, but I just wanted to throw that out there. And I think that's pretty much it. One thing I didn't mention is my
we did most of the actions.
Imperial Reliquary.
We did all the actions.
Reliquary board.
Oh, not
I don't know
relics.
if I said that right. But as I'm adding citizens, if I am having if I want to add John as a citizen, I'm going to be giving out these relic cards. We didn't really show off that, but that's kind of the gist of how that works out. And I think that's. Again, the general overview of the game to kind of give you an idea. So let's go ahead and talk about the art and components.
Okay, well, I'll tell you this much.
What are you doing?
I'm just showing you. I like the art so much that this mountain card has been my screen on the back of my phone for a number of months.
Yeah, me too.
I love the art. Of course, it's Kyle Farron. He is probably my favorite artist that's doing board games right now.
Yep. Yeah.
He is my favorite.
And besides just the art, the components are fantastic. You have these screen printed war bands, which I really like. I like the pawns that have their, again, screen printed. The dice are all custom etched dice. There's a lot to really enjoy about, the look of this game. I love the fact that it is a player mat. It's easy just to roll it out, throw the cards out there. One of the things that when the Kickstarter campaign was happening, it was this big, big deal that they made, that Leader Games made, to say, this is a game you can set up in 5 minutes, which it actually is a pretty easy setup for the most part. If you know exactly what you're doing,
that you're doing and all that. Yeah.
Right. There's some things that you need to know, but the setup overall is pretty easy. Yeah.
Yeah. The only complaint I have is this is a really long board mat. So if you don't have a lot of table space, this is 1, 2, 3 feet long at least.
Yeah.
At least 3 feet long. So this takes up quite a bit, at least width-wise, table space.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of other junk all over the table, though, which is nice.
Yeah.
But it fits all, and you have to do that because you have to add the cards, over here to all these things and stuff. So it makes perfect sense, but if you have a small round table or something, that's when prepare you, it might not fit on it.
Yeah.
I have to play it in the floor.
I totally agree with that. I don't know if I'd play it in the floor, but, make do. All right, so let's talk about the gameplay.
Okay.
All right, with the gameplay, there's a lot to really enjoy about this game. This is it's a well-designed, deep game. I'll go ahead and say that. If you couldn't already tell that from how we were explaining the game, I think we really did an injustice in not deep diving into it, but that's not really the whole purpose that we have. But there is a lot of depth to this
video
game.
is to help you kind of decide if this is something for you.
That's right. But there's a lot of cool decisions to make. You might have an idea, for the Chancellor, for example, in the way that we're playing. I'm trying to build up territories and make sure that nobody takes those over. But then I have to decide, do I want to have a citizen that's kind of working together, and they then take on my war bands, and we're kind of working together. But
they can win it.
That's right. They can win the game by being the successor to the Chancellor, which means that when the game ends, in my favor, if they hold more relics or banners, and that's in this game, by the way. There's multiple of these.
Yep.
In this one, if they hold more relics or banners, they're going to win, and you have to think through that. There's a lot to think through. That a lot of intrigue,
especially if you just have one relic. It's really risky at that point to go ahead and just. Yeah. If you had built up several relics, maybe gotten some from there, it's a little bit less risky, a lot harder for them to. Then, of course, if you have 3 relics, they may not want to.
Yeah.
That's the cool part of it, is that really human intrigue, whatever part of the game. I think that's really smart and fun to. Yeah, because I wouldn't. If you had a bunch more relics, I would be like, no, forget you, dog.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can.
It's going to be way too hard for me to win.
Or I might want to campaign to attack you and attack specifically your relic cards to take those. You might think that you're just campaigning out here for the territories, and that's not always the case. Sometimes you really do want to get those relic cards. I think it's the other thing it's kind of interesting is from the Exile. So everyone else in the game is an Exile to start off the game, other than the Chancellor. Okay, the Exiles have other opportunities than just trying to defeat me. They can get these vision cards, and once the 3 vision cards, you can see
it's like Root, where you can just have different in-game scoring.
I know I have them in here somewhere. Here's one. So if you're searching and you come upon one of these, you have to stop searching, and you're going to look at this card, and this one is the Vision of Sanctuary. So if you win, if you hold the most relics and banners, at least 3 visions, once 3 visions have been drawn. So 3 visions have to be drawn. You keep up with that by this right here. But once that happens, if you have that card flipped over and you meet the conditions, you can win the game that way. And so there's a lot to think about for the Exiles too. And do I want to go this route? Do I really want to try to overthrow the Oathkeeper and try to, gain this tile and win that way? Or do I want to join up and be a citizen and try to do the successor route? It's fascinating. I mean, there's a lot. But with that comes a lot of depth. It means that you might need to have a lot of investment into this game. I think this game...
Totally agree.
It takes a lot of investment. I mean, I don't know any other way around it. This isn't a game that you can just say, I'm going to play this game today, and then like 6 months, I'm going to pick it up again. You're going to forget a lot because there's a lot of
unless
rules
you don't mind
game.
spending 30, 40 minutes reading over the rules again, probably, and yeah. Because, I mean, even in games that when we first started playing this, I felt like the first time we played it, I had it pretty good, and then we come back to play it a day or two later, and I'm like, oh, what was that again? Huh? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just, and it's not overly complicated, but there's just a lot of little fiddly things, maybe, like you know what I mean, just but overall, I agree with Dean about just the simple like actions that you're doing they're pretty simple to explain, right?
Yeah.
But if you've got to play, I mean, this is a gamer's game.
Yep.
100% a gamer's game. It's going to be really, even with a gamer's group, Dean's going to have to explain. When you explain Root, I'm going to guess most people have played Root if they're interested in this. So I'm going to use a couple things. The hardest part is, hey, this faction does this faction does that faction does that, and those kind of things. So you're going to have the same thing of the Exile, but you're also going to have like, oh yeah, but they could offer, what is it, citizenship? Is that right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can, and then if you go over to that, then you have a different win condition. Oh yeah, but you can also get these vision cards, which are another win condition. I don't think it's overly complicated, but it's not an easy. I wouldn't say it's an easy teach by any stretch.
Yeah.
And I agree 100%. Let me say something. Like, I like the way. I like how this. It seems like there's not 100,000 things to do on your turn. Mm-hmm. There's not. But it seems like every decision matters so much. Like, should I have really gone and done this? If I was actually playing the game, I don't know if I would have. That's a really aggressive move off the bat. Mm-hmm. But maybe then it does pin Dean. Like, maybe Dean's like, kind of on his heels for a lot of the game. Mm-hmm. But maybe I just flip these over and put some cards out. That should have been removed.
Oh, yeah.
Put some cards out. Go ahead and get some more coinage action going. Get some more warbands like ready to go before I go and do that attack. And I think that's cool. And my favorite part of the game, I think, is the player like thinking about what the other players are going to do.
Yeah.
Like that, like, okay, now I'm going to pin Dean in this position. How's he going to come back? You going to come back at me, bro? Like, you're going to have to, at least a little bit, but how much are you going to come back at me? The intrigue of the player sitting over there, is he going to offer them to be a citizen? Are they going to take it? And we're fighting back and forth. They go, don't take it. Don't let him have it. Like, that's probably the best part of the game. And if you like those diplomatic type games, like, that's cool, man. You've got that, but you also have some cool mechanics. Like, some cool, just go around, do your action mechanics. I like that a lot.
And the mechanics of the game are actually fairly simple.
That's what I was trying to explain.
Those actions, like you said, those are simple actions to take. But this is not a simple game, and like the things that go along with a lot of those different actions add a lot of kind of, I would say fiddly rules. Even the campaigning. I don't think the rulebook is even that clear I've read through it multiple times of trying to figure out the campaigning just to make sure, and I had to watch a video to make sure, and I was correct on how I did it, but I wanted to make sure, like, was I rolling the exact amount of dice correctly? And in fact, sometimes we do playthroughs and we mess up rules, and
we may have.
It's possible we did, but when we played through, I made sure that we were right because I watched videos and read through the rule book to make sure. So if we messed it up here, we got it right in the gameplay. But it took a while. I think that was a detractor.
Yeah,
for
playing
me,
through
sure.
it. Some things that you might like or not like. So let's say some things that I don't know how I feel totally about it. The attacking. So you are rolling dice. Right? So, like, Dean, that was, for him, like, that whiff of 0-0, that's costly because,
it wasn't that bad, though. I only lost one warband in the territory.
It wasn't, but the costly part of it is I get to keep all my warbands. Mm-hmm. I didn't have to spend, like, if he had rolled that, I would have had to spend one or two of my warbands and put them back, which I feel like in a game this tight can be, not great.
Yeah, it actually doesn't bother me because what happens is when it's kind of like a scythe type situation when if you go into battle, you might win the battle, but you really kind of set yourself up for failure maybe in some other areas. So yes, you are stacked up here, and I tell you what, I'm not going to go up there. But what I will do is come over here and wipe you out there, and then probably take this over too. So that's kind of setting myself up for success, or maybe even try to wipe out both of those, but I'd have to really build up my warbands. That part doesn't bother me because yes, this was a bad roll, but as long as I set myself up to have enough warbands in those different locations, then I should be okay.
Yeah.
Or having them here, so that will help me in the future.
That's not a big complaint on my part. I'm just saying
You might
some
not
people,
like it.
Some people won't like it. And I mean, of course, you're rolling dice here for this. It would, there is a chance that you're playing a game where, hey, you do. The good thing about this is if you lose one of your warbands, it counts as double, like 2 attacks. That's pretty sweet. But you could roll and you don't really need that many, and you get a bunch of those and you lose some warbands. Some people might not love that part of the game. There, just roll it off the table. And I'm okay with it. I mean, the fun thing about rolling the dice in that is it feels more war-y. Like, let's go. Guys are full of strength, and our women are got muscles like this, and they're coming at you and they're slicing your throat off, and they're saying, "Our mate."
What are you talking about? There is a lot of player interaction in this game. If you don't like a lot of player interaction, you're not going to like it. And it's not even like necessarily, we keep mentioning this, it's not just like the risk type of interaction where you're just attacking. There's a lot of other things that are going on that you might not like behind the scenes, like the deals that John and I might be doing that exclude other people. Because there are cards that allow you to kind of trade items out and make deals that happen. Some people might not like that kind of
for sure.
diplomacy in a game either. And I think
some people love it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And if you do, I think you really would like this style of game for sure.
The other thing I was going to mention about dice rolls is the way that the Chancellor wins. So I know Dean mentioned it, but let's just say it again real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5th round, he rolls this die. If it's a 6, he wins the game.
Over. Just game over.
Game over. Goes here if he rolls a 5 or a 6. The last time we played, he got here, rolled a 5, game was over.
Do you like that? Do you hate that?
I don't love it. I understand why there's that mechanic, because that mechanic comes into play also with the citizens. Because if you're a citizen and then you have more of that, so if you're a citizen, you actually might hope that the Chancellor rolls that, because if you have more relics and stuff at that point, then you win. And so I understand why you have that, but it's not my favorite way to end a game is on a potential luck of the dice roll. It's a timer. You're eventually going to roll it, right? Mm-hmm. Hopefully.
I kind of like it.
I mean, could you imagine rolling this and getting 1 or 2, 3 or 4 times in a row?
Yeah. Well, remember now at the end of the game, the end of the 8th round is done.
Oh, it's over.
Yeah,
You're right.
So at the end of the 8th round, it is over no matter what the die roll is. But one thing to think about.
It's not a big deal to me.
I actually kind of like it. Because what it does is it sets you up to say, okay, I really need to make sure that the Oathkeeper can't win, but I might take a little risk, okay? I might let them keep this Oathkeeper one more round so that I can get some things that I might want to be able to do and kind of sneak a win. But then you're like, if you take that chance and then boom, they roll 6, game over, you're like, no, I should have gone after him. And I actually really like that. I think it's cool.
I'm kind of like that on it. That's how I am.
Okay. All right. Final thoughts? Are we ready for that?
You know those mechanics or things where you're kind of like, I don't like that, but I do like that part of it. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. Like exactly what you were saying. But then part of me's going, man, just roll it and get a 6. And I worked all this hard for all this stuff. But the good part about it,
it's a pressure luck mechanic that has huge
implications.
Risk. Yeah, it has huge implications.
But it does also make it's right here. It really affects the way I'm playing the game. So that's kind of fun. Like, okay, he could do that. He could roll a 6. I guess I really need to. Do I want to risk it? Like you just said. Like it's fun, but it can also be hugely disappointing if in that first one he's like, boom, you roll it. But whatever.
Yep. All right. So final thoughts.
Also, last thing.
Oh,
sorry.
Gracious. Okay.
Turns can take quite a while. They can, yeah. Especially if you're doing a lot of campaigning and stuff. They don't always. Or if the person's searching through the deck multiple times, they're taking forever to decide what card they want. Yeah. Sometimes you can be like, oh, man. Because I think Dean's first turn probably took 10 minutes. And I'm just like...
You think it took 10 minutes?
I don't know. Go back and watch it. I bet it took 6 or 7 at least.
Maybe, because searching can...
And you were teaching as well.
Yeah.
So I get that. But go ahead.
But you're right. Turns can't take long. So
final thoughts.
With final thoughts, here's the thing. I struggle with this because I think this is a greatly designed game. I think this is an excellent game. I just don't think this game is for me. And it's not that I don't like high player interaction. I do. And in fact, I really like most things about this game. I like the card play. I like the battling it out. I love those style of area control. That's my thing. I love that so much. The problem is I can't play this game all the time. I can play it now and then I won't be able to play it again for, and that's kind of the life we have because we're reviewing a lot of games and going through a lot of different games. We can't really really invest in this game. And I think that's what this game deserves. I think you really need to invest a ton of time into this game. And if you do, I think you're really going to like it. I think this is, it's excellent design. But because of that, I struggle with my rating because my rating hovers somewhere around a 6, which is I think where I'll land. But only because I think it's a better design than a 6. Okay, but when we use the BGG scoring system, BGG says that this is a game that I will play if in the right mood, which is true. But I'm actually more on the lower side of that, and so I think the game is more probably like an 8 design or something like that. If you really invest into it, I think people love it, can really, really love this game and give it more like an 8, if I was really invested into it. But I don't want to play it as much in the situation that I'm in. And so that's why I'll keep the game at a 6, although I don't think I even want to play it as often as what a 6 would entail. But I think it's a better design.
And we do that because if you're following our channel at all, people know whether they like your taste or not. And people that are kind of follow your taste, or you're basically saying you're not really sure if they would like it or not.
I'm not gonna play this game very much. Is what it comes down to.
Okay, I like it a little bit more than Dean does, for sure. I completely agree with all of his statements. This is a game. Not only is it like a kind of a lifestyle, you really need to be into it, but it also has to be with the right group. It has to be, and that's the challenge. I think that's going to be one of the challenges with this game. Is there's people out there that are watching this video that have gaming groups that will play Dune and these diplomatic games and just have a blast, and they are going to, I think, potentially really like this game. Mm-hmm. There's other people that we're kind of in the middle, where there are some of our friends that would play this, but a lot probably wouldn't be that interested in it, and so I don't know when I would get a table. There's also folks who have friends that will not play something this heavy, don't like diplomacy games, if you don't like Take That, you're not going to like the game because you got to attack people and you got to fight them, you got to go. So it feels like it's kind of like a niche game, but for that niche group of people, a really good game. With super fun mechanics, cool diplomacy. I'm going to give it a 7. The reason I'm going to give it a 7 is 7 means usually willing to play. If you have the right group of people, absolutely I'm willing to play this most of the time because I think it's a really good design. But for my personal taste, I'm not going to give it an 8 because that would be, I would be recommending this game. I would recommend it in certain niche situations for my personal lifestyle right now. And it's a longer game too. So I'm going to have an epic, it's not like a 4-hour long game, but I'm going to have a couple hours, 2.5 hours set aside on an afternoon with the right amount of people all ready to go. If I did that, I'm sure we would have a freaking blast playing this game.
If you know the game, you can play it much faster. So if you have that group, you can, the game would be much faster than that.
Absolutely.
But you all have to know the game and know exactly what you're going to be doing from turn to turn.
But if they don't know the game, I would probably set aside 4 hours or 3.5 hours to teach the game, ask questions, play through.
Look in the rule book.
Yeah, I think I would. I mean, that would be. Yeah. Anyway, so that's it. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's kind of high on the. I don't even know what the BGG time frame is on that, but I still think that's a little bit high. What's it? For how long it would take you to play a game,
it's going to take a while to explain the game and ask a lot of questions.
It does.
And people's turns are going to go real slow at first because they're going to be, what do I do? Hey, Dean, what does this mean again? I'm just saying I would rather set aside too much time than too little time.
You're probably right, though. I guess 8 rounds, taking 5 minutes apiece. You're right. You're absolutely right. Okay, so that is a 7 from John, a 6 from me. Check this game out if any of those things seem interesting to you. John, tell people how they can get in touch with us.
If you're enjoying our channel, we'd love for you to subscribe to it. Go to patreon.com/MeepleTown. If you'd like to support what we're doing, go to @MeepleTown Games on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and Board Game Geek Guild 3407.
Thanks for coming down to MeepleTown.
Thanks for joining us, and thanks to our Patreon supporters for making content like this possible. If you would like to become a Patreon supporter, go to patreon.com/MeepleTown. To follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, find us at MeepleTown Games. Finally, to connect with us and other residents of MeepleTown, you can join Guild 3407 at BoardGameGeek.com. Until next time, thanks for coming down to MeepleTown.